Sitting around the ballroom, they're talking about tomorrow when they're taking Johnny away. Said he wasn't no good, never done the things that he should. That's all the judge had to say. He went in the army when he was 18. Crazy young Irish and mean. Took a kid who was half gone all the way to be wrong with bloodlust and them 16s. His father, he thanks us for coming. Bartender whispers something.
All right, we are back. Happy New Year's 2025.
Yep.
It's going to be a big year. Bobby Froio. There's no tradition like Bobby Froio on New Year's Day. First off, I'd be remiss if I did not mention this, which is we want to start it off on just a little bit of a heavier front, but unfortunately we lost you. Is it your stepbrother,
He's
right?
my stepbrother, yeah. But
Yeah.
Pretty much my brother.
Kenny, yeah. Passed away suddenly. Was one of the best dudes. Just to go back, and I didn't get into it too much with Danny, but when I had the Cornhole podcast, I knew Kenny before this podcast. We did a fundraiser for Danny when your daughter wasn't was kind of in the woods a little bit.
Yeah.
And Kenny was one of the biggest donators to that of anybody. I didn't know him at all. He was like, "How do I donate?" And immediately gave us $400. And he didn't really even know Danny. So
he knew my sister and from the Cornhole shit.
Yeah, and having there's no good time to lose somebody. And this is probably the worst time of year for it to happen, but so I just want to say, awesome fucking dude, absolute fucking
Great
legend, great guy to see. Whenever you see him, fucking smile on his face, fucking awesome guy. So, very sorry to hear that. So,
Thank you.
yep, you're welcome. Now on to more fun stuff than that. All right, goals for 2025. By the way, real quick one. We're going to get Shane Gillis on this podcast. All right, now listen, I've been called the Timu Shane Gillis.
Lofty goals to start off the year.
Well, listen, you got to have big goals.
You got to shoot high.
You got to have big goals.
They always told you to apply to colleges that you got no shot of getting into.
That's right.
This would be the equivalent.
We
of
got to
that.
get the side by side of you two.
Listen, last night I thought of it because last night we were just about to wrap up and go to bed. Maggie went to bed early. It was me and Tommy. He's like, "I'm going to bed," and I just pressed play on Beautiful Dogs, the stand-up. And then we just stayed up for an hour just dying laughing and watched it. We watched it 3-4 times. It's just fucking great. It's perfect.
He's
it's
the
perfect.
man. He's the man right now.
He is.
Him calling Nick Saban Alabama Jones was the fucking.
Dude, I don't think Nick Saban has
greatest-
ever been disrespected in his life.
Never.
He's still not recovered from it.
He's not recovered from
He
it.
just has no idea that Shane's a comedian. He's like, who is this guy? He just thinks he's completely fucking with
Do you
him.
think he got it at first?
No,
I don't think he got it.
clue.
Dude, you
Indiana
could see it
Jones?
on his face.
No clue.
I was dying when he said it.
Yeah, he has no idea what's going on. This is what's bothering me right now. So
We got
college,
college game day on.
they're not doing it in front of a live crowd at the Rose Bowl. That's fucking dumb.
Is there not enough people there? Because
Yeah, it might be.
Well,
Might
They
be
might not
early.
even allow them to tailgate,
Oh yeah,
not
because
like
it's
a
one of
Philly-
those.
yeah, it's not like a
Yeah,
Philly.
that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid.
But whatever.
I hit 450 at Keno at 621. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Which, by the way, I've done it only 3 times in my life, twice at 621, which will just keep it goated as far as I'm concerned as far as restaurants go. There's no better feeling than that, dude. When you walk up and you get that ticket in your hand, you're like, come on. You're going to look at it and be pumped that you got
Did you know you hit?
I knew.
Do you
Yeah, I
watch
saw
your
it.
numbers? Yeah.
I saw
always
it.
watch my
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah. I
Did
watched
you ever
it.
hit 450?
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, a couple
I've
times.
hit twice, and I'll tell you the worst part was I was at the Brown Jug, and I was bringing up my numbers, and the girl was serving, and she was busy, and I'm waiting. My numbers come. My dad goes, "We won." I go, "No, we didn't." Ripped. I didn't get it in.
Oh
No.
Too long to get there.
Oh, that's the worst.
I was like, I'm
I
never
thought
playing
you. I
Keno.
thought what I thought you were gonna say was you hit twice and then you had to
You
pay
gotta pay
taxes
taxes.
on it because
Yeah,
under
450, 450.
it used to be under 5. Now I
Six
think
now.
it's 6 now.
Yeah.
But if you got a ticket that's worth 900, now you got to go to fucking Braintree
you
or
gotta
wherever
cash
the
it
fuck to
Yeah.
cash it in.
I've never hit 450.
Really?
I've hit $20 3 billion times.
Yeah.
I've never once hit 450. It's a kick in the dick, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I still
450 is such
play.
a great feeling
It's
because
awesome.
you're not paying taxes on it. It's cash in your pocket right there.
The problem is though that like,
It's a free
and this
night.
is the problem with being like a degenerate loser like I am, is that like you hit the 450 and then you're like, fuck, that means I'm not going to hit it for like another like 5 years.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I've been looking forward to this. Now I just
Or
gotta,
you stop paying fucking $20 for 12 spots.
yeah, like real degenerate shit.
I'm gonna hit $20 billion. Keno.
So it's the week between we're at the week between New Year's
It's called the
and
Gooch
Christmas.
The Gooch.
The bender is this is the last day of the bender.
right
for
in
you.
between everything.
This is the last day of the bender for you, right?
Yes.
Yes. This is the finale.
Yeah.
The grand finale.
I got cold sweats right now.
You know what I feel like?
It shakes.
You know what I feel like about this week is because we were just talking off air and like I didn't know what day it was, right? Like you guys seen the movie Interstellar?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I can't
All
remember
right.
what it was about. But I remember
All right.
watching
So at the end of Interstellar, like Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey, if you haven't seen it, there's a I don't want to ruin it, but I guess at the end, like you know, they realize that time can be like folded in on itself, and at the end, he's like looking at different versions of himself, trying to give himself messages when he was like younger, and like he's going to these different scenes, these bookcases, he's floating, he doesn't know what's going on, and he's looking at himself through like the bookcase. I feel like that's me, but I'm looking through like bottles of booze and like cake, and I'm like stop, like I'm yelling at myself, I'm like just don't fucking do it, but then I'm like I don't know where I am or what's happening, you know what I mean? It's like a fever dream. The entire week is like a fucking fever dream.
Is that where that quote is? Time is a flat circle?
No, that's from Times Flat Circles from True Detective.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Same.
You ever seen True Detective?
Russ, I have. Russ
Oh.
Cole, dude.
Russ Cole.
Right when you said McConaughey, that's what my first thing that jumped to mind was
Time
Russ
is a
Cole.
flat circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he say that?
Yes.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it's so good.
We'll see him at 1 o'clock today.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Today is bowl games. This won't go up till I'm trying to think when this goes up. This will go up next week, right? But it'll go to Patreon like today or tomorrow. So, anyways, how was the holidays, boys?
It just didn't stop.
Yeah, it just never
I mean,
stopped.
Christmas, the very next day is my daughter's birthday, and then 5 days later or 6 days later is fucking New Year's. It just doesn't stop. I've been putting together furniture from fucking IKEA left and right. I'm ready to blow my brains out. They come with zero fucking directions. Like, it's just pictures. No, they're just like, you figure it out. I fucking hate my life right now, currently. So it's glad that's over with, but we got it done.
Nice. Awesome. Fitzy?
Yeah, Santa came and Connor got a super Dika. For anyone that
That
doesn't
thing is
know,
sick.
Yeah, it's sick. It's a stick handling drill, so it's like a game though. So you have like 45 seconds to hit the puck over as many red dots as you can. Try to beat your score. Santa had no idea that it was 10 feet long. So
Where does it go?
it shows up, yeah, and we have no room in our house. So I'm like, fuck it. Melissa's like, that couch needs to go. I was like, all right, Facebook
Dude,
Marketplace.
I saw
Yeah.
you got rid of the couch for the fucking triple
Yeah.
Dika?
I was like $300. So it's a Jordan's couch, and it was old.
Yeah.
I'm saying probably 14 years old, but for the last 8 years, it sat in our front room, and no one sat on it or lied on it. So I put it on for $300. A lady messaged me. Will you take 200? I was like, yeah, come get it. So next day, her son shows up. We load it in his truck. He has this little fucking Datsun, and I fire this thing in. Yeah, it's
They still make those things?
I think it was from the 70s.
Yeah, from the 70s.
And it fit in there. He gave me the $200, and now the Super Dika's in the front room with nowhere to sit.
Bobby, you? It was other than obviously it was horrific,
that's
but yeah.
pretty much put a damper.
Yeah,
but-
yeah,
So
yeah.
just have a lot of family though. So I mean, it is what it is. You know, a lot of people coming over,
Yeah.
seeing a lot of people I haven't seen in a while, and a lot of drinking, a lot of eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nonstop, like, just the tap just opens up and it's like, and I get it. Look, I mean, you know, you try your best, but it's like at the end of the day, like, I did go to the gym this week, but it's like, dude, I'm gonna put on 15 pounds over between Thanksgiving and this holiday. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, I can't say no to fun. You know what I mean? Like, dude, when somebody's like,
That needs to be cut.
you like if somebody's like, dude, this is gonna be good. It's like when somebody's like, we're doing this tonight, we're having a party. You're invited. I'm fucking going, and it's gonna be fucking awesome, and I'm gonna fucking run my fucking mouth. I will say by the end of this week, I get sick of myself. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
I've heard myself talk constantly to people, at people, It's like the fucking by the time we get to last night, I was like, I didn't want to get I don't mind if I get you scumbag sick, but I had a little bit of a cold, so I was like, I bailed on a couple of invites last night, and that I had enough at that point. Like the cup was full, you know what I mean? Speaking of which, my brother-in-law Nate, they do Josh the Ironworker, because his wife and Josh's wife, my wife are like best friends. And a group of their girlfriends, they go out the night before New Year's. Josh texts me. He's like, there's a picture of Nate. He's had 4 vodka drinks. He's fucking getting confrontational. I'm like, is he asking about dick sizes yet? And he goes, and Ann Seeley, who's been a day one Patreon member.
Yep.
Yeah.
She goes, Ann just told him, Brendan calls you an idiot and a loser all the time on the podcast. And I'm like, which he knows, obviously. And I'm like, and day one fucking rider. You know what I mean? Like just going in on Nate, like when he's had like 4 martinis and he's like fucking about to get yelled at by my sister. I love it. Then this motherfucker yesterday, South Carolina played in the bowl game. Brett Bielema, who's a fucking fat loser, a fucking zero, right? Is got an injured player on the field and he's fucking going at Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer almost fucking locked. Listen, Shane Beamer traffics in Christ, family, and football. Bielema fucking traffics in cheeseburgers and probably fucking child porn. He's a fucking loser,
I
right?
can't believe they shook at the end. I thought he was just going to punch him
Yeah,
out.
but you could see like he's like, I'm never fucking talking to you again.
They shook, and then he kind of cowered out with the interview afterwards because then he talked mad shit, Shane.
Listen, Nate, let's get back to the fucking crux. I haven't made a non-PTC or like post on Facebook other than like pictures of my family in years. College football has ruined my life. I fucking put on there, I'm like, Brett Bielema is a fucking zero. By the way, I think all the people who are in like the University of South Carolina like class of whatever test classes in that I'm in on the group can see everything I post because I have a publication. I got all these likes from like these moms from
That
like
was
fucking,
awesome. I saw that.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, fuck this guy, right? Nate's like, this morning, I get up to, he got in his head, like he's fucking whatever, and they fucking ran him. Nate, you should never be allowed to coach football again. I'm going to say that right now. If you like what Brett Bielema did yesterday, you're a fucking loser. And I'll say it again. Nate, who I love, I would take a bullet for him. He's a fucking loser. All right? I'm going to say that. If you're a Brett Bielema guy, you're a fucking loser.
His face how does it not bother you? His face is disgusting.
Dude.
He's just that fat.
I was looking I watched this morning before you guys came in here. I watched the Shane Beamer press conference, then I watched the Brett Bielema one. I'm like, who fucked this guy? Whoever had sex with this fucking disgusting mountain of fucking... He looks like now I'm getting into like shit that like you have to be old to remember, but if you saw Weird Science when Chet turns into a turd, like that's what Brett Bielema looks like with an Illinois shirt on. That's all I'm going to say.
They got to fix that rule. That's fucking awful.
Yeah, that rule stinks.
When they make them wait the offense, because they purposely were doing it. They were running the defense out slow.
Yeah.
And So anyways, college football has ruined my life. By the way, we talked about, I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast or if I always forget what we have talked about or have not talked about on here or if it's offline. October 25th, 2025, South Carolina plays Alabama at South Carolina at Williams-Brice Stadium. PTC outing. We're bringing the fucking pain to that stadium, okay?
Yeah.
We're getting the fucking tailgate set up, all right?
They're just gonna be, who the fuck are these?
If you want to come, and by the way, Tess was like, I guess said to Maggie, she's like, I don't really want Dad to fucking come down there with all his rowdy friends. I'm like, you're not even gonna fucking see me. And by the way, you know what I don't want to do? I don't want to fucking pay for your fucking apartment next year, but I'm gonna fucking do it. So it is what it is. I want to live it up.
Those tickets are going to be a pretty penny.
Well, listen, we might not even go in the game, all right? But we're going down
I'm
there.
cool with that.
we're gonna see what Shane Gillis can do first.
Yeah. Shane Gillis is on the show. That we're gonna get him at that one.
And then Bobby Froyo's gonna do the kick with Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah. Also on that same thread, I guess Tess was like, said to Maggie, she was like, why does Dad have to have a podcast? She's like, I got my friend's car the other night and they brought up a part of the podcast where Dad was talking about blowjobs on the podcast. And I go, well, good news. I go, it wasn't about me getting one recently. I go, so at least it wasn't that, you know? Anyway, so whatever. That's my little fucking rant on Nate. But yeah, it was, this week is a mess. Like, I'm kind of glad when you get to this point, you're kind of glad it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you do have to kind of lean into the skid. Like,
When was Nate's house? That seems like fucking months ago.
Yeah, so we were supposed to go to dinner that night. You were like, Bailey's got a bunch of stuff. Her birthday was then. And I'm like, all right. So then that night, I texted Fitz. I'm like, hey, if you and Melissa still want to go out, Nate's having a party. So I'm like, we could grab some dinner and then
And
go
we
over
had a
there.
babysitter, so we were like, yeah,
Yeah,
fuck
so
it,
you were
let's
like, fuck
go.
it. Yeah, so we went over to Nate and my sister had a party. And Melissa actually turned to Maggie and was like, I think I'm too drunk to be here anymore. And at that point, Maggie said, the dance party hasn't even started. She's like, dance party? Next thing you know, my buddy Dave's wife's on the bar, just fucking letting loose.
yeah.
It was awesome. We had a great time. I hate shitting at a house that's not mine, right?
It's the worst.
And I'm like, I gotta go. So I was like, Mags, I'm gonna take the truck and go back to the house real quick. My sister's like, just use the upstairs bathroom. Okay, it's only Will and my other nephew Ty are in there. So I go up there. I had to, and then I get back down. I'm like, fuck, I gotta go back up again, right? my nephew Ty leans out of his room. He goes, Uncle Mo, another one? I go, gotta do it. By the way, they have a full Florida height, whatever, ceiling mirror that faces across from the shitter.
That was tough.
It was tough to get it out. I'm sitting there. Does anybody want to look at themselves when they're taking a shit?
No.
Nobody. Dude.
Nate,
I'm like,
Nate does.
Nate's like, I look so good.
Nate's
With
the only one.
yeah, Nate's like, I'm fucking gonna beat off
It's
in
like
this mirror.
Costanza
afterwards.
gets naked to take a shit.
Anyways,
I took what did you grab food last night? What did you grab for food?
I made steak. I made ribeye for Tommy. And I had some of that, and that was about it. We didn't do anything. Tell the story though.
I did the traditional Chinese food. Boston, people do the Chinese food around here. So I'm going to go pick it up, and you got to put it in an order like a week in advance. No big deal. He's still waiting there for like 5 minutes while they look through 100 fucking brown bags, right? So this guy goes in there, and I don't know if he's like new to the area or just has no idea how these things work, but he's like, yeah, I need about, I want to say like $200 worth of food. And the lady like couldn't have been nicer. Was like, that's going to be like a 2-hour wait. He's like, get the fuck out of here. He like lost his mind. And she's like, no, like,
Was this guy black?
He was.
Based on that accent.
He was. He said, I ain't waiting 2 fucking hours. So she's like, well, I'm sorry, sir. Like, he's like, where's the other closest Chinese spot? And some guy just looks over. He's like, buddy, they're all going to be like this.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck. So, and then he just left. I don't know what he ate. I was real curious.
You got McDonald's.
Yeah.
You made a post yesterday on your thing about the Chinese food, and you were like, "This is what $200 worth of
Yeah,
Chinese food looks
I
like."
spent $180, and it was 5 regular size containers, which was their large, of food, and then I got like one little Tupperware container of orange chicken, and that was about it. It was fucking outrageous.
That
It was
crazy
like
upcharge.
they upcharge. I knew that,
everywhere.
but like I couldn't believe how much they upcharged. Like if I ordered that same meal today, it would be like $85. It was just insane.
It was Maggie
They got you by the
literally
balls.
went to bed and then came out of bed and was like, "Did you see this post from Danny?" She's like, "That's all you get for $180."
Crazy.
Yeah.
I said the same thing when I saw it. I was like, oh my
It was
god.
my sister. My sister messaged me and she's like, "There's no way. That's all you got." And I said, "That's all I got."
We stopped doing it.
Yeah,
We haven't done it in, I'd say, fucking 3 or 4 years.
it was dynamite. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was
It
fucking
is. It's great, but I don't think it's worth it. Order it in advance, then it sits there cold, and it's not fucking fresh when you get it.
They ask you what time, so like my shit was hot.
Yeah.
when
Was
I
it?
picked it up. Yeah, it was hot. And like their orange chicken, which I know it sounds like real elementary to say, like I'm not peking raviolis and shit, but their orange chicken is fucking out of this world. I would go there just for that. But their other food was fine. We got 7 different types of rice because Puerto Ricans can't live without it. And then, we got the chicken chow mein, we got the beef teriyaki, we got it all. It was delicious. It was fine.
Bobby, what'd you eat?
So we go to Miguel's house and he does that. They go sit at the bar at Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
And then when it's ready, they come back. But they have all the stuff set up. They just throw it on everything in the trays and they have the burners under so everything's warm when we eat it.
Yeah.
They do it every year.
So they go to the restaurant?
Yeah.
Where is Fantasy Island? That sounds like a porno store.
No, it's in Salem. It's like right on the line of Salem.
It's not like a black door you go through and there's just mad DVDs in it.
No, it's a good spot. Their food's kind of like all the ones, like Kowloon, they've all kind of gone downhill.
It's like a fucking you can buy like a fucking one of those things. A flashlight. You can buy one of those when you get the Chinese food. Fucking unbelievable.
What was the day that I met you guys? What did I meet? I'm losing my mind. But I remember I left and I was going to Bella's when I left Bella's.
Yep.
And Chris Noble, Glenn's brother,
Jeez.
was like, "Hey, it's the holiday party," and I know what that means. He means day drinking at the cabaret. So
Bermuda
I went there.
Triangle.
I was there for 1 hour, right? And there was no like cover charge. It was mobbed in there. Like I couldn't. What time did we leave Bella's? Fucking 11:30, 12.
I left later. I stayed. But yeah, it was around.
So anyway, it was like 1, the latest, and it was mobbed in there. And then they just brought in a boatload of Chinese food, and I was like, "This is the most." There's people just sickos just watching these disgusting strippers on stage.
Is that the day you sent me the picture of the guy from Hooters?
Yeah. Yes.
So I talked to the girl that day, and I showed them the picture. She's like, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, he's banned from Hooters.
No.
Because I was like, I haven't seen him in here in a while. She's like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was the guy with the vest that used to hit on Greta.
My girl.
She's like, yeah. She's like, I think
He's the one who bought her the
autism or
teddy bear?
something. He's like autistic or something.
Yeah, he
I
bought her a
would've never
Hooters
known.
teddy bear from her establishment where
When
she
she
worked
was
at.
retiring.
Yeah.
Legend.
Speaking of that,
Unbelievable.
I believe Greta is working at Maggie's cousin's restaurant, the common room. And Maggie's birthday is gonna be the next Sunday at noon. So I'm like, maybe we get to
Didn't
see
you
her.
say she left there already?
No, she didn't. I
She
don't
came
think-
back.
She's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
she's like a legit model. So she's like all over the fucking country, just taking photo shoots, and I'm just on Instagram
Kind of like
liking them.
kind of like it's kind of like my life. You know what I mean? Yeah.
She's actually fucking awesome. Like I joke around, but she's like a wicked fucking.
Now,
Really
I'd say this
awesome.
about like when I give advice to Tommy about like, women or whatever, which is obviously great advice that I give. But I was like, look, I'm like, the one thing I'll say is if you marry somebody whose parents are divorced, like you're going to be driving forever on Christmas. It's just going to be that way. So historically, back in the day, Maggie's uncles had a Christmas night. Christmas Eve. And now it's like Maggie's cousin has it. By the way, great people. They have a house in fucking Milton that like, I was sending you pictures. It's
crazy.
Kennedy shit. It's like,
Looked like the inside
dude,
of Titanic.
it's just there's no TVs, just oil paintings that like fucking like like I'm like, can we afford the shades for the room? Like they're like, can we afford this fucking this MFA painting? And Tommy said to me at one point, he's like, I feel like this is one of those houses where like if you take that like the candlestick off the wall, like a new door opens up. It's like Scooby Doo house. Like I was like, dude, this is some real fucking generational
Tommy
wealth
just
type of
fucking
shit.
breaking wax candles in half.
Yeah,
It's gotta be
yeah.
a door.
Yeah. I got in a little bit of hot water where like they have a book swap every year. Maggie buys the books and whatever. You go up and you pick the book and then you can exchange it, right? If you want to take somebody else's book. So I get the book and you have to read the cover to the room. So I like sit there, I get the book, I open it, I read it. And the cover says something like a hilarious examination of privilege in America. And I go, and the funny thing about me opening this book in front of you guys is is what it says on the title of that book. And I look around and the only one laughing is Tommy. And Maggie's like, you shouldn't have said that. Like whatever. I'm like, it was fucking great. Like that was awesome. By the way, I brought Durham food to that.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the only thing that was gone was like the Italian calzone, and all the Irish food was just left. People were like, all right, whatever, fuck that shit. You know what I mean?
I'm picking up my order Saturday for my sister's party.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm picking
Awesome.
up a tray of the Italians and a tray of the mortadella sandwiches, and I'm fired the fuck up.
Oh, yeah. It's the best in the fucking business. It's the best in the business.
I went to pick up my order day before Christmas, and I got a bunch of shit, a couple of half trays, stromboli, cheesecake, and a ricotta pie. And this was right before he was opening, and there's already like 5 old Italians standing out there waiting for bread.
Bread.
Yeah, yep.
So I'm like, fuck. So I text Al. I'm like, hey, I'm out here. Do you mind running my order out the back door? He's like, yeah, no problem. Give me 10, 15 minutes. So it's a tight street. He's on Eastern Ave, but
Yeah.
it's a tight
Yeah.
side street.
There's no parking there.
So I park like right in front of his driveway, but also a neighbor's driveway. But the 2 trucks opposite me, or that I was trying to parallel park in between, it was tight and there was still snow on the ground from that storm. So I'm hanging out a little bit, and it's a 2-way street. So it's inland, as we've talked about. So one Mexican lady starts coming this way, one Mexican lady starts coming this way, right? And they have not enough room to make it by. So I'm like, fuck. And now I'm just trying to not make eye contact with them because I'm causing this problem, right? I see Al come walking out. So I just fire my door open in front of them. So now they have less room. And I walk around to the other side. I'm like, Al, there's a literal Mexican standoff right now going on in front of your restaurant, and it's all my fault. He's like, did anyone start shooting yet? I'm like, no, not yet. I was like, here, give me my food. I was like, where's the Italian sub? So I had to stay there for another like 10 minutes. Finally, one lady backs up and lets the other one go. It was like 10 minutes of just them staring at each other.
Dude, so we did a Patreon that was 2 hours, which I had to take down because I'm going to put it back up. I got to edit it. It's a fucking slog of an editing process. The only reason I have to edit it is because I said, I I gotta learn this for the future. Nobody who's listening to this podcast knows these people anyway, so it's like there's no use in using their names. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I was like, man, I really blew a few people out of the water there in that fucking thing. But I did say on that thing too, as I'm getting older, I realized like, and I meant to say people of color, but I said colored people.
Yeah.
And I was like, you were like, whoa. And I was like, I did the other day, I was with the kids. I'm like, oh, these Spanish person or whatever. They're like, why do you keep calling them Spanish people? I'm like, isn't that what they're like, they're Latino. And I'm like, look, I'm aging into racism now. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. Like, I'm like, this is what we call those, this is the words we used back
There's
then.
too many rules to keep up with.
My father
at this point.
refused to call Chinese people anything other than Orientals.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, those are rugs now. He's like, no, it isn't. Those are the Orientals over there.
Yeah, I mean that's just part of getting old. I think you know what I mean. Is you're like, oh man, like I'm not even mean to be racist. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
but that was, I mean, if you can't tell from like my reaction, clearly I know that you weren't fucking being anything devious. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But on to another subject. You were talking about pie.
Yeah.
I got the okay to tell the story from my man Andrew Fontana.
oh, this is
boy.
a fucking great one.
So you guys have already heard this. Froyo, you haven't. But he told the reason he said, he goes, I gave the boys the okay for you guys to tell the story. And I said, well, that's great. I already told them off air anyway. And he's like, you're a fucking asshole, right? But he goes, the reason you could say it is because the pie was filled with fruit, so it's healthy.
Yeah.
Now, Andrew Fontana, my guy,
Yes.
right? He a couple weeks ago, I want to say before Christmas, you know, mid December or whatever, Brunt boots. He was going to buy a pair of Brunt boots, and they had like this open warehouse where you can go there
Thursday nights. They have
Thursday
it.
nights, and you can go there and try on boots or whatever instead of order them online. So he goes
Yeah.
there.
It's like a hang. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like,
And the guy, person that works, he's like, oh, you here for the pie eating contest? And Andrew goes, what is this pie eating contest that you're talking about? Now, we all know who, if we listen to the show, and he's been on the show, Andrew's not a skinny fella.
By no means.
No. But, so he goes, what's this pie eating contest you're talking about? He goes, oh, we're going to have a pie eating contest, and if you win a free pair of boots. So naturally, I know where this story's going. But the best part about it is the guy goes, well, there's your competition right there. And it's this like 75-pound lady with like a clear trash bag over her. And he goes, there's your competition. He goes, and right then and there, I knew the game was over. So he goes up, does this pie eating contest, looks up to ask the guy, he goes, hey, did I win? And the guy goes, buddy, you could have stopped 25 seconds ago. Then he looks down, he goes, so these are the boots. He had them on, dude. That's the best part. He goes, so these are the boots. Yes, Andrew won a fucking pair of boots for being loud ass from Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That was my first thought right when you told us the
He's the
story.
fucking
But then
best.
also my first question was, did Fonz really not know that there was a pie eating contest that night? That was my first question.
He must have.
he must have known.
He's like, these are free boots.
Wouldn't you? You know, what I mean?
Yes.
If you had that ability,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like if they were like, there's a free boots if you can write the best cursive, I'm going there because that's what I know I'm good at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, pie eating contest, he's just like cracking his knuckles. He's like, hey, right, diddly dee. You know, like fucking Ned Flanders.
Yeah, I will say this about New Year's, going back to last night. Like, I think the last time I went on New Year's was like I was like 25 or 24 or something like that. We all went into like Anton, I think, which used to be in, I don't know if it's
Right next to
definitely-
Coogan's.
Yeah, yeah.
Sick place.
And like I remember just being like, I'm good with this, like
Yeah.
all day. Like as far as like that goes, you know what I mean? Like when you're going into Boston, like trying to get back then. By the way, there was no fucking Uber. It was like you're
No.
trying to get a fucking cab. You know what I mean? Like
Good luck.
yeah, fucking you're like walking home from fucking Boston. You know?
I think the last time I went out on New Year's, I left with a cop. And we were at Mix or Town Line or whatever, and it just ended in a bad night.
Not
But-
by choice.
Not by choice. I wasn't arrested. I was just detained there for a little bit, and they let me go, and I walked home with a fucking collared shirt on and khakis. Then, actually, you know what year it was? I went to my buddy Troy's house, and I saw Jadeveon Clowney's hit
Oh,
that
the
day.
big one.
That fucking, it's still, I think, the best hit in football history
Knocked his helmet off.
because of what happened the play before. Remember, they didn't get the first down, and they were supposed to get it.
Yes.
And then Michigan took over.
Yep.
And then Jadavian Clowney, South Carolina's own, went fucking
Who was
ballistic.
the running back? I'm trying to remember what the running back was on Michigan.
No, it was that dude Robinson, I thought. He was number 10 or 11 or
Darnell
something.
Robinson.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a day.
This is, by the way, this also is a great day, like for football, and I can't go out after this. Usually, last couple of years we went out after this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There was a time we almost all got sick from the Saugus wings.
wings.
I
They were
smelled them.
not
I'm like,
good.
I was like,
These
oh.
aren't Saugus
I'm like, we're
wings.
all gonna be thrown up for a fucking week after this. It is a great day for. It's a great time of year for sports, though. Like, it's like the NBA's going right. Oh, by the way, Tommy had a track meet on fucking what day is it? I think Friday. And it's at the New Balance, like right by
in Austin?
Yeah. So he's like, so we're all on the bus and he's like, we're looking down, like all of a sudden, like, you know, school bus. He's like, and this head comes like parallel to the fucking windows, right? And he's like, and we're all like, and the guy's white. He's like, all of a sudden, somebody's like, Porzingis. And fucking two of the kids got out and fucking got a picture with him. And like, they have a great picture. And like, these kids are kind of big kids. And like, you just see the size of this dude and you're like, this dude is massive, like fucking massive. Like, but shout out to Chris Stapps because like he stopped, like took a picture, like that's awesome.
The unicorn.
Like, yeah. Imagine how many times you're going through your life and you're like, you cannot like ever like disappear. Like that's how big you are. Like, was he 7'1"?
Might even be taller. I think he might be like 7'2" or 7'3".
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Just
dude.
a stick.
Yeah. Also, I think on the Patreon on this, we were talking about like we were joking around about dick sizes or something like that. But somebody asked me if Panuzzo has a huge dick. And I was like, whatever. I was like regular dick, I think. I can't remember when I blew him, but but he's like, just to let you guys know, he's like, if you're above average height, everything's above average. I'm like, all right, good, sweet. Although I did know a girl hooked up with a guy one time who was like a 6'5" lineman from BC, and she's like light switch. So I mean, it doesn't always play. You know what I mean? So shout out to him. Thank God I'm not 6'5".
That was on the regular show, and immediately he texts us. He's like, "Only you guys can make this situation gay." He's like, "I'm trying to make money and sponsor you guys, and you guys are making it gay."
I will. Go ahead.
That's
Do
why
they try
Kevin
to make
Hart's still
Tommy?
not
You say
fucking
Tommy's running
sponsoring us.
track.
Yeah.
Do they try to make him do wrestling?
So
This is probably the same.
the first year Nate's wrestling we're getting the wrestling, and he did it the first year, and like he didn't have contacts. It was like he looked like he was just like he was trying to be like somebody you could like see without sight. You know what I mean? Like he was like in his hands going everywhere. I'm like, this is. He did like 2 meets, and he's like, I'm good. I'm all set.
So they try to get Bubba was trying to get Lorenzo to do it.
Yeah.
So the two things we were talking about, dicks and gay. He won't wear the singlet, so he's like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And all he says, I'm not having a guy go over top of me and smudging his balls and dick in my face.
Dude, can you blame him? Doesn't sound
That's
fucking
not
great.
a bad point.
You know what I
He's
mean?
making solid
There's too many
points there.
reels, like the kid, they all looking at it on like YouTube, and the kid's got the
Dude.
nuts on his chin.
Tommy-
He's like,
so-
I'm not getting them filming that of me.
Yeah, so at Melrose High, basically the way it works is the coach has been there forever. Like if you're like a lineman and you aren't particularly like you're not great at basketball or anything else, like he's also the track coach. So like he's like all the linemen just do shot put. Like that's what they do.
Yeah, he gets him in there to fucking continue
lift.
working out on the off.
Yeah, it's great. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
it is.
for them, you know
It's
what I
great.
mean?
Some people how used to
But
do it.
my nephew Will is a good wrestler, and like so he's on the wrestling team. Tommy's like, we get out of track, and he's like, and you walk in, and the wrestling room door opens, and he goes, and steam just comes out, and like everybody's just like looks like they want to die. Like I'm like, yeah, that's a fucking sport for like psychopath. I've always said this, like if it's a sport or thing where like there's no money in the professional world for it, I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
Like dancing, like nobody's gonna be like, oh dude, yeah, you were a professional dancer, backup dancer for Paula Abdul. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Like if you're a wrestler, like you're not gonna. The only thing you could do now, I guess, you could transfer that in like UFC, right?
Yes. All I think of it when it's the wrestlers Vision Quest. Shoot. Remember that?
Yeah.
And he's running Matthew Modine.
These are films for guys at the age of me and Bobby. You know what I mean?
Did I ever mention the story about the Malden High wrestling coach?
No.
So I was a freshman, and I was a fucking beanpole. Let's not kid ourselves. But I was in like the weight room trying to like show the guys that I'm like committed to football, right? And this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Have you ever wrestled before?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "I think you'd be great at it. You get the physique for it." And I go, "What the fuck is this guy looking at?" Right? He's like, "No, but your weight class, you wouldn't be going up against he points. It's like Kevin Newhall who got like a full ride to fucking Northeastern for football and wrestling." But he goes, "No." He's like, "You should do it." So I was like, "Ah." He's like, "It's great for football." So I was all in. 3 days later, the guy was arrested for like 1,000 things of child pornography. He's still in jail to this day.
They must
That
have
was
thought
in
you
like
were cute. He
2001.
thought you were cute.
Yeah, I could have been a victim, dude.
He was like, Danny's sexy.
Yeah.
He knew the physique he wanted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I dodged that one,
He
dude.
wanted to hear you talk.
Dodged that one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like,
He's
talk
like,
to me.
He's like, how the fuck is that voice coming out of that body?
1976, I was wrestling. Dave Jennings from. By the way, we got to have Russo back on. I was thinking about that the other day.
Dude, funny story real quick. Went to Winter Fest, which by the way, total fucking scam. Worst time of my life.
Yeah, couldn't catch me there.
It was so bad, but on the way home, we're driving past Mike's roast beef, and I'm like, I'm getting one. So I snagged a roast beef. I look on the fucking wall where it's like all famous people, and there's an autographed picture of Dave Russo in there. And it's from like the fucking early 90s because he looks like he's about 11, and the Sharpie writing's like barely on there. But it's like, thanks for the best beef in Boston. Right here. It's fuck, I took a picture of it.
Where was this?
Mike's roast beef.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you sent it. No, you didn't send it to
No,
us.
that was the
That was
picture of
fucking Al.
Kevin James
That was
and
Al.
his cousin.
It's right next to Kevin James. Yeah, Kevin James with the band.
Yeah, Kevin.
cool.
Al's cousin Justin sent that picture. Kevin James was like, Al got on the wall and because it looks like Al kind of.
So you texted us that you were there. Oh, no, you
just
did your
pictured you.
review. And then the kid Justin. So Danny was there, and then, oh, that's sick. And then the kid Justin sent us a picture of Kevin James on the wall.
Yeah.
And I was like, if Danny listened to Bad Brain and Brent and Justin listened to Pulling the Cork, you guys were probably there together. You would have known each other.
Bumped into each other. I'm just gonna take his picture real quick.
Yeah.
Russo's the best dude. Do you think that? By the way, what's his name? Sean O'Brien. He was on. Was he on Johnny Bott's story or Shooter's story? Bean Shooter's story.
I think they
Probably
were all
both.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
think they
Bean
were all
Shooter's been
together.
posted. He probably got blocked from Instagram again or something.
Shadow band.
Yeah, shadow banned or whatever happens to him.
Too many Colombian hookers.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But yeah, it was, dude. Russo is the best in the fucking business. He's fucking awesome. We got to have him back on.
Yeah.
If we can't get Shane Gillis, I mean, we could just have Russo, which is fine.
Russo's at safety school. Like, you got to apply to all the
100%.
schools you
He's
want.
the Bunker Hill.
Yeah, when you don't get into UNC Chapel Hill, but you get into Salem State, and you're like, all right, yeah, he's Salem State. You know what I mean? So what's the new year? By the way, I did a 40 minutes with Panuzzo yesterday on Patreon. So for people who don't know, Panuzzo's sponsoring the podcast this year. Talk about a meeting of two groups of people that like really don't belong together, but
It's already starting to work. There's 3 confirmed people that are going to sign up.
and Dustin Fannin, who
Oh, yeah,
like,
Dustin Fannin, too.
So it's going to be, if you're a member of the Patreon, it's going to be half off for you. And which Panuzzo made the point when we were doing it. It's $100 a month, right? And you get in his app.
I
And
thought
all
he
that
said
stuff.
it's for anyone. Any Pulling the Cork people.
It is, but like if you're in the Patreon, it's half off, which is $100
okay.
a month.
All
He's
right.
like, it's $3
Okay.
a day. So he's like, it's a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
To which I thought to myself, if you listen to the show and you're not in the Patreon for $5 a month, what does that cost? Like 12 cents a day or like 10 cents? But we did a 40-minute little Patreon Zoom yesterday, me and him, that we posted in Patreon, just talking about like his stuff and what he thinks. And I was so pumped when I got out of that. I'm like, dude, because I had just come from the gym. I'm like, I can't wait to fucking get ripped with this dude. And then like I immediately went inside and like made a steak and drank like Misguided Spirits and fucking vodka. And it was great. By the way, shout out Misguided Spirits.
He's throwing out some content right now.
Big Bad James, yeah. Misguidedspirits.com. You can get all your stuff there. They're blowing up right now. You can get the liquor at a bunch of various places. You can order it online. Go to misguidedspirits.com. Also, we should do real quick. By the way, Brian's thing is thesuccesslift.com if you want to go to his website. So you can check that out. And also, we should do another quick one. Ben Franklin Print Company. BenFranklinPrintCo.com in Middleton, Mass. People be getting great shirts and great things made there. Go there, tell them you're one of us, and they will give you a little bit of a deal on it. And by the way, we are going to be talking this week about getting our St. Patty's Day
Yeah, it's around the corner, baby.
hoodies made. We need new hoodies. So by the way, your son is going to MC,
Oh, yeah.
right? And isn't it kind of sick though? You guys have, and Fitzy's son is a lot younger than our sons, but it is sick when your kid starts getting old enough that you can kind of hang out with them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's the best.
He had his
Like,
first beer last night.
Did he?
Did a toast for Kenny at midnight. And
Yeah.
he drinks Bud Light. And he was like, you got to have one for your uncle. The guy all of a sip, took one sip and spit it out on the back deck.
Yeah.
We all didn't we all?
How did he drink that? It's so gross. And then next one he goes, "You gonna tell my mom?" I was like, "I don't care. She's gonna be mad."
Who gives a
I
fuck,
go, "You
kid?
probably won't drink a beer now for like 2 years."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's probably the best thing you could have done. You know what I mean?
My first beer was awful.
What division is Melrose in? 3?
Yeah, but Tommy said they're moving divisions or something.
That's so MC is.
Yeah,
too. I think
yeah.
they're going to 3.
Yeah, I think that's
I thought
what.
they were already in 3.
No, they're in 4.
Really?
Yeah,
I think
they're
it's the
going
same
to 3.
thing for Melrose. Yeah. Yeah, it is cool though when your kids are getting old enough that you can kind of hang out with them. You know what I mean? Like that's like a bonus. Because like I drive by the park now and I see these people with these little kids. I'm like, you guys are fucked for like 10 years, dude. You're gonna be in like the worst part of your life. You know what I mean? People are always like, those are the days you got to remember. No, they're not. They suck. Those days suck. Like I see pictures of my kid with a cast on. And I'm like, I don't even remember that happened. Like that they broke their arm. Like I'm like, fuck, that sucked. You know what I mean? Like that's the time of your life you don't want to remember. It's like when they get older and you can fucking hang out with them. That's like the best part. You know?
For sure. What's
but-
little Brendan doing? Is he coming?
I mean, he took the test. We just gotta,
You waiting a month?
yeah,
Yeah.
we gotta see. There's no like fucking application that says you're in yet.
Yeah, but you know,
That's what he wants. That's where he wants to go.
basically it's the money, right?
That we haven't even
Yeah.
had that conversation with them yet either.
No, but I mean, he's gonna go there if money's right.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna be there for that.
All right, let me
She's
give you
gonna be
guys.
a
Let me give
single
you
mother,
guys.
dude.
I think I've told the story, but let me give you guys a hack for MC. Tess was applied to Arlington Catholic and MC, and she got into both. And I was like, I want to go to AC because I was like, it was cheaper. It was like 12 grand versus I think 15 or whatever it was at the time. So the day,
Fuck.
but dude,
Yeah.
but I went to.
I thought they were giving discounts for girls back then.
They give discounts for people of color, is what they give discounts for.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
go.
when the
Correct usage.
Yeah.
That's why I mixed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Smart. Yeah, it was a financial decision.
Yes.
It wasn't the sexual attraction. It was the finances that made you do it. But anyway, so we went to the open house, and I had never seen her smile like that. And I'm like, well, I'll just pay whatever it costs. I don't care.
Yeah.
So the next week was like the new students like mixer or whatever it was. And that day she got wicked sick, and so we couldn't go. So we just no-showed it. And I got an email the next day, and they're like, "Oh, we
You still
found
interested?
$3,000 in aid."
Yeah, hell
And
yeah.
I'm
that,
like,
yeah.
yeah, you did. I'm like, fucking awesome.
That's the
You
plan.
can negotiate with these people.
Oh,
you know
they
what I mean?
definitely.
Yeah.
Whatever they offer you, say, what else can you do? And the
100%.
next day, they give us another $2,000.
Dude,
Were
it's
they
all
still? Did they still have like the? I think it was like a physics teacher shooting something across the room, and there was a can falling from the thing, and the bullet hit the can at the open house. I remember going to Malden Catholic and being like, "This school's fucking great. That guy just shot something across the room and it hit that coffee can. I want to go here." My mother's like, "We don't have money for that."
money for the shit.
And
It was,
now I've been on a bender for 10 days. Thanks, Ma. So high paid off. So speaking of benders, right? I was telling Brendan, Danny, you're gonna get a kick out of this. I've been drunk for like 9 days. I think I took 1 day off in the course of the last week and a half. I wake up this morning and I didn't even want to come here. I was like, I feel like dog shit. I don't want to fucking even
Talk to them.
I don't even want to see these losers. So I call the Uber because I'm like, the only way I'm getting through this is with a 12-pack. So I call the Uber shows up, right? And the guy's like staring at me in the rear view. I got a cooler in the car, right? And he's just looking at me in the rear view. He's taking lefts, taking rights, and he's just looking. He wants a conversation. And I'm like trying to avoid the eye contact, right? So he's what's politically correct? Latino.
Indian?
He's a Latino. So he's a Latino
person of
guy.
color.
He has a
brown.
thick accent, right? And he's like, so I was like, Happy New Year. And he's like, Happy New Year. He's like, I wanted to see what language you spoke. And I was like, why? What do you speak? And he's like, well, Spanish, but also I'm trying to
What
learn.
language do you be speaking? Like,
He's like, that's what I mean.
Slovakian?
You look at me. It's going to be French Canadian
Viking.
at
You
the
speak
best.
Viking?
right?
Nordic?
I'm like, so then he's like, well, I speak Spanish, but I'm learning English. So he wants to talk.
Yeah.
He wants to fucking practice English.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, all right, let's have a conversation. I'm good at English. Let's go. So he starts talking, and now he's like talking about the Bible. Dan.
Sick.
He starts talking about the Bible. He's like, we have to be strong. And it was a great message. It was awesome. It's going to pull me out of the bender. I'm going to think about him tomorrow when I'm at work sober with the hangover, 10-day hangover. But and I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, is this a sign or is this just God being like, dude,
Reel it in?
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
What are you doing? But it was sick. And I was like, yeah. I was like, here, listen to the podcast. And I was like, we drink a lot. I was like, but we're all family men. We all have kids. We're all strong. Male role models for our family. And he's like, yes, I love it. He's like, put it into YouTube for me. I was like, there you go. Pull
You know what he's
Good
saying?
luck. Good luck, pal.
You know what he's saying right now on his way to church?
He's like, fuck these
Used
guys.
to be my dog. You was in my left titty.
Oh my god, dude! I remember when I was working at Home Depot nights. There was this guy, and he was like ran one of the departments, and I was talking to him. I'm like, and he was like, he was a person of color, and this fella, and by the way, that's another wicked racist thing that white people say. They're like, oh, he's a black fella. That's something my grandfather would have said, and but he wasn't black actually. He was Latino, and he was telling me, he's like, you know, you gotta fucking look at. They ask you to do you a favor in the other departments, help them out. He goes, you clean up your own house first, right? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I gotta get out of here early tomorrow. It's Halloween. And he's like, he looked at me. He's like, I go to this church. He goes, we don't celebrate Halloween. He goes, it's a like pagan holiday or whatever. And I remember he looked at me. He's like, I think you could use this church. And I'm like, dude, there's a better chance me blowing you in the lumber section than there's me going to this fucking church right now. Like, ever. Like, by the way, I could say this kid's name on the podcast because he's dead as a doornail. This kid that worked in hardware, I'll just say his name was Greg. And this kid was always like fucking doing tons of drugs and tons of overtime. That was what he was known for. Drugs and overtime. By the way, great name for a band right there. And he came up to me one day and he's like, dude, I went to do my taxes, and he's like, and they like I put in the number and I owed like $3,000. And I'm like, oh yeah. He's like, sometimes if you don't claim the right thing, you owe. And he's like, but then I just put in these other numbers. And he's like, and I got $4,000 back, right? He's like, I got $4,000 back. And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, well, they will come for that money. You know what I mean? Like eventually. And then like I remember like 4 months later, he's like, I got a letter in the mail about what do I do with this? Because I was like the older guy there that was white. And they were all like, this kid must. I was like Andy Dufresne. They were like, this kid must know how to fucking do accounting. You know what I mean? And he's like, what do I do with the letter? And I'm like, I don't know. And then like a month later, he's dead. And I'm like, you got him.
Yeah,
you fucking got him,
you
dude.
took them for
They're not
that.
getting that
Yeah,
money
yeah.
back now. I'm like, you're fucking dead.
won.
This dude, if you know the Chelsea Home Depot, this kid used to work overnights, right? The Chelsea Home Depot in Mass is like, I was like one of the only white people who worked there. I've talked about that before, but in that parking lot, there was a McDonald's.
Brown Jug wasn't there when you worked there, was it? It was
No.
still on,
No.
16.
Yeah. So there was McDonald's like directly across the parking lot. So you go across this parking lot, it was probably 100 yards. There was a road between it, and then there was McDonald's, right? And then there was a ditch behind the McDonald's. And like this kid somehow ended up in the ditch with a forklift from the store.
Yeah.
He drove
They're
over.
like he tried to go through the drive-through
Drive-through with
with
the
a
forklift,
fucking
yeah.
forklift.
Hell yeah.
I think he was doing drugs and overtime that night. Cautionary tale, but bottom line is you put some different numbers in, you get money back.
That McDonald's, this has to be 15 years ago. I went there to grab like breakfast, coffee, or whatever, and it came to like $4.90-something. And the guy brought out the fucking fake pen to see if the $5 bill was real. That's how fucking much of a shithole this area is.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, and like you know what pisses me the fuck off is that on
The $5, dude.
so on the day before Christmas, I don't even know when we've done this. I think maybe I talked about this, didn't, but I took Tommy out. He had to do his shopping for everybody in the family, right? Which means just I'm taking him to buy people shit, and I'm like, I've been on a bender, so I'm fucking annoyed that he goes, I hate shopping. I'm like, oh, do you? I'm like, you fucking hate, I'm like, fuck you, dude. Fuck yourself. So then I go to Walgreens to get gift cards for like my mother and stuff. And I'm like in there and I'm like, oh, you know what I need is, I needed like, it was something that was so innocuous. It wasn't like razor blades or something expensive, but I go, and it's like, you got to call an attendant over here to open this thing. You know what I
Behind
mean?
the plastic.
Dude, like that's where
They got
we
those everywhere.
that's where we
Yeah.
live, and I'm like, dude,
Awful.
I'm gonna call somebody to get this thing I can
Yeah.
order on Amazon tomorrow.
Right now, CVS has deodorant locked up.
That was what it was. That was what it was. It was fucking deodorant.
Deodorant.
It was
Target does
deodorant.
too.
That's insane.
Yeah. So if I stink, it's their problem. It's their fault. You know what I mean? Deodorant, dude. I have to say this. Deodorant is like so fucking annoying because the spray on deodorant is what is easiest to use, right? But I don't think it lasts like
Doesn't.
regular deodorant. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. You gotta do like a 3 a day application of spray on deodorant. But the other shit, like stains your shirts.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it fucking ruins your shirts.
I use the powder, or the whatever it is, the white stick,
Yeah.
and fucking my shirts are a mess.
Yeah.
After like 3 wears.
Melissa's like, I can't wait to fucking have sex with this guy. Like, look at
I
his-
can't do the gel deodorant either
my-
because it just gets all wet and gross.
The gel's nasty.
Gross,
It
dude.
feels way too cold and wet when you put it on.
Dude, I
That
Look up,
fucks
like-
up your t-shirts too.
They all do.
Yeah.
The only one that does is the spray. But
Spray.
like you said, the spray you're gonna bring it with you. You gotta spray like 3 times a day.
so the angle that this shot is at, like from this camera, for me, I'm like, I was saying the other day to Max, I'm like, if I get ripped like off with Benuzzo, like get jacked, I'm like, and like still have this fucking like double fucking throat that I have, I go, I'm getting that like surgically removed. I'm like, because I look like a fucking turtle in these videos. I'm like, nobody wants to fuck a turtle, and she's like. I forgot. She loves turtles. Like I actually wood carved her a turtle for her birthday one year. She's like, I love turtles. And I'm like, you're the only person who wants to fuck a turtle. Like you want to fuck? I'm a human turtle. That's what I look like. Disgusting.
The
like,
master of disguise.
dude. Yeah. Just give me a shell, like Michelangelo over here, like fucking turtles. Like,
Didn't April O'Neil like kiss Raphael once?
listen.
You know what I mean? She was
April,
hot.
April wasn't bad.
Yeah,
was all right.
I mean, Maggie's like, what are you trying to like go with somebody who doesn't love fucking turtles? You know what I mean? I'm like, whatever. Gotta find a girl who likes what you're into, or what you are. Let's do a couple ads real quick. You want to do benchcraft?
Sure.
Yeah.
American Benchcraft. Benchcraft on Instagram. You want a belt that's going to last forever, that has a lifetime guarantee? Go see Chris at American Benchcraft. They're in Wilmington.
Yep.
It's a union shop.
It's not a storefront though.
It's yeah, no, it's not. Just go to AmericanBenchcraft.com. Veteran owned union shop. I get the wallet. I get the belt. The belt is never gonna break. I've broken thousands of belts in my lifetime because I pull it way too tight and I crank on that and I gain weight and I lose weight, so I fucking ruin every hole in the belt. This belt I've had for how long now? Over 6 months,
6
maybe
months.
9 months, 9 months. There's not even wear on it. It's not going to break. I'm never going to have to get another belt, which is tough for his business profile, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it.
AmericanBenchcraft.com.
Yep. At Benchcraft.
You want to do Bellas?
Sure. Bella's roast beef, Harry, Sandra, our people. I believe they're off vacation now, so you can go over there and grab something at 1211 Osgood Street, North Andover. BellasNA.com if you want to check out their menu. They're the best in the game. And they're about to have, a couple months away, but March Madness, we got them back. We got to get them back to the top.
Yep.
So BellasNA.com, tell them what we sent you.
Yep. We were just there like
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Seems like months.
It seems like 5 years. Dude, I'll tell you when this bender started for me.
That
Day before Thanksgiving, me, Danny, Bobby went to Hooters,
Yes.
and like it just started there. Like that like it feels like it's just been a like whoosh, like dream sequence since.
100%.
Also, I have to apologize to sponsors because I did the best of, and then I came in here to record the ads at the beginning, and I guess the volume was low. Shout out Andy Fontana, who
Yep.
crushes pies and knows, and told me he's like the volume was wicked low.
Secondhand scribe.
Yeah, so I had to like scrub that from the because cutting the audio for cutting the sections for the best of is like the hardest thing in the world. Because I don't remember anything, and then I go back and I basically fast forward the episodes, and then pick the best parts. There's gonna be a second best of coming out too, by the way. It'll probably be out by the time this comes out. But Tedco, by the way, a better construction process. 617-996-6827. Get in bed with Ted, as I like to say. He's been the 2 years that Teddy's been a sponsor, at the beginning of the year, he just goes, just give me the year. Like, give me the year. You know what I mean? So Teddy's the fucking best of the business. We love him. Also, if you want to sponsor the show, or you know somebody who wants to be part of it, have them hit us up. And if you message me about something like that and I don't get back to you, just keep bothering me, because I am probably one of the worst people at like responding to things, but I'm not in the mood to respond to them. You know what I mean? Like dude, I said this to Maggie or Tommy the other day. I'm like, I feel bad for Tommy's future wife, because he's like, I'm moody as fuck. And like, when I'm in the mood to do what I want to do, I'm great. But when I'm not, I'm like, fuck. Dude, this kid, I'm like, when he gets up in the morning, I'm like, you're such a fucking dickhead right now. Do you know what I mean? And it comes from me. I'm saying it comes from the top down. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, dude, imagine his wife, like, because I feel bad for Maggie, dude, because I'm like, being married to me is fucking got to be torture. I look like a fucking turtle. I'm a fucking loser. You know what I mean?
That's a pro though.
Yeah, that is a pro. Yeah, in her book, it's a fucking pro. She's like, it's the first guy I found that looks like a turtle. You know what I mean? By the way, next year, big things are happening. Obviously, Shane Gillis is coming on the show. Everybody knows that. But Halloween party's coming back next year. Facts. Halloween party's coming back.
Golf tourney.
Golf tourney obviously is coming that was when I was going through the best of, it is crazy because now this is 144th show, right? Counting I think the best of. Like Jinty's episode, right? Which was in March of last year. Last year. It felt like that was 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Like some of those episodes felt like it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Joey Boats was on 4 times last year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It didn't feel like that, though.
It doesn't feel like
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it didn't feel like that at all. So
Time flies when you're having fun.
time flies when you're having fun. That's
Shout
true.
out to the Paddington Bear.
Yeah. Maggie actually asked me when we were at 621. She was like, so what are you gonna keep doing pulling the cord?
What are you doing with your life?
What are you doing? She's like, I'm leaving you, by the way.
There's another turtle in my mind.
Yeah. She's like, I met another turtle guy. She's like, no, she was like, I'm like, honestly, I'm having more fun doing this show right now than I've ever had doing it.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
been good.
When Danny was
And we're seeing good results.
seeing tons of
You
good
know
results.
what I mean? More
Yeah.
people following, more people joining. And,
This last month was our
interacting.
best
Yeah, it's
month
great.
of downloads ever.
It's awesome.
Although I
Keep
will
it
say
coming,
when,
player.
when Danny
Yeah.
was gone for a little bit, that was a dark period for the show.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's back.
I was still having fun, but Brendan was fickle as fuck.
Yeah, I was like, Fitzy's a loser. Like this fucking show
Sucks. Where's
stinks.
Danny, dude?
Where's Danny in the fun? Yeah. So, anyways, by the way, I also when we talked about this is an anti-Italian podcast,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, it's pro-Italian. And then like I brought up that Bob cereal, and he's like, I hate Italian people. And the French, those are the only two classes of people.
Yeah, he's the best, though. He's married to one.
That's true. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah. They get the food. We
Bobby,
know
do
that.
you do the 7 fishes?
No. My mom never really. She just do cook on Christmas, with just all Italian food. She wouldn't do the fish. She hated seafood.
Really?
So we never did. Yeah.
I fucking love seafood, dude.
I do, too. And I catered Christmas for my family, and it was all Italian food.
Yeah.
Obviously, what was it gonna be? Fucking Irish shit food?
Fucking turkey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dry turkey.
Oh, I got to talk about this. So you know how your algorithm on TikTok will go from. I mean, mine. I feel like because my kids, I'm always in the same room with my kids. Like whenever like a girl who's hot comes up, I actually like unlike or do whatever I have to do to get out of that algorithm because I'm like, I don't need this coming up like when I'm sitting next to my daughter. Mine now is this fella from fucking England who's
love
just crushing tinned fish.
Yeah.
Look up tinned fish, whatever his tinned fish reviews is his TikTok. This guy just opens up like tinned oysters, and then he like narrates him eating. I could fucking watch this dude
So
eat
you
tinned
sent
fish.
us one. Yeah, you were
Yeah.
on the thread, right? He sent us one yesterday.
Smoked.
It's smoked. Were you on it?
No.
It's smoked oysters in just oil, and it's like a fucking sardine tin.
By the way,
So
which I crush. I love that.
you rip it from the side, and it curls up over it, and he just sticks a fork in there and grabs an oyster and eats it, right? And then he goes like this. The high pitch. I can't even do the high pitch. The high pitch, like every
Lovely.
bite, right?
Lovely.
And then he dumps them onto a plate and he squishes it with the fork. And he's
Squish
like,
fest.
let me do the squish. He's like, oh, that's a different squish.
Yeah, he's like, we'll try it with a little cracker. No.
I'm like, I guess I could get into this.
Dude, I didn't know you weren't supposed to jerk off to the video, so that was fun.
Christy eats octopus out of a can. It's the most disgusting.
Let me tell you right
Really?
now, I'm
Yeah.
fucking here for it. I'll tell you right now, I
Yeah.
love
How about
my
you?
grandfather when I was a kid. Glenn O'Brien used to crush sardines out of the can. So I just thought it was like normal. So like
Yeah.
Maggie is grosses her the fuck out. Like when I'm on my health off the bender,
It's good protein.
like dude, I'll throw a fucking can of fucking smoked oysters down faster than the tin fish guy. Like.
Yeah.
By the way, and people send him all this stuff. I'm like, I gotta find some tin fish to send to my boy. By the way, you know what my favorite is the comments. This guy's got massive following, by the way. Massive. The comments are the best. People are like, shh, our favorite show's on. our favorite shows on the television right now. It's like people are just like, I'm like, I don't know what niche this guy is fucking nailed. Obviously, it's the tin fish niche, but I'm like, I'm here for this guy. Like, I love him.
I've had octopus once, and it was in Puerto Rico, and it was delicious.
See, octopus.
But
I
eating
like,
octopus out of a can,
It's
I just couldn't see it.
vile.
It seems like it's gonna be wicked chewy.
Yeah, but he said, like, I'm fucking play-by-play on the tin fish guy. He's like, He's like, smells chewy as you think. Smells chewy as you think.
Really?
Yeah. He's fucking into it. By the way, the other thing is, last night I started watching the Say Nothing, which is the
so
Irish
good. So
IRA show. It's
Great
very
show.
good, but here's what I realized is that if I have more than 3 misguideds,
Yeah.
I can't understand the show anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, fine, I was like, we gotta put on Shane Gillis now. Something I can fucking understand.
I feel like I stopped watching Peaky Blinders because I couldn't
You have to
fucking
do subtitles.
understand.
I watched everything.
Someone told me.
Yeah,
they were
watch
like,
it
put it on
subtitles.
subtitles and you'll be able to follow everything that's
Yeah,
going on.
I had to watch
I
that.
haven't had an issue with Say Nothing yet.
have you watched?
Understanding what they're talking about.
Have you watched the Kneecap video yet? Movie.
No, I haven't.
No,
It's
I
good?
haven't, but I follow
Dude.
them.
It's the story how they became a band or
Yeah, they're
whatever.
kind of
Yeah.
saving it.
It's fucking wild.
I
The
gotta
guy that
watch
wears the balaclava, or
Yep.
whatever the fuck it's called, the ski
Yeah,
mask.
that's good. Yeah.
Baklava.
Yeah, that's
that's the
dude.
pastry.
I called it baklava for 3 months.
I know.
Balaclava, whatever.
I think
He,
that's right.
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
he was like their teacher, teaching Irish. He's an older guy than them. I didn't
Really?
know that. I've never seen him without his mask until
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
And that's the real fucking people.
Dude,
It's wild.
One of the coolest things I have to say is that Maggie's uncle, who is a fucking awesome guy, Maggie's mom and all her siblings, which I think there's 7 of them, grew up in the D Street projects in Southie. And they are like stuck. If you're like, can I find somebody to play an old Irish person from Boston? That's Maggie's whole family. Her uncle, who did very well for himself, he went to BC High and BC and was, I'm not going to say what he did for a living, but like he was a very successful person in a big company. And he's the best guy. It's like, he's the best. He pulled Tommy aside and he was like, at the
you
Kennedy's
told us.
party, and he
You
was
told
like,
us.
he gave him 20 minutes on like why people from Ireland would not like British people, right?
Yep.
Which you'll see in that show, right? I mean, listen, if you grew up in an area and somebody's pulling your parents out of a fucking tenement that you're living in and like abusing them, you also would not like those people. Like, that's just how it works. And I'm not saying British people are bad or anything like that. But
I am.
he fucking threw 20 minutes of Tommy, and I'm like, this was like, I was just watching, I'm like, he gave 20 minutes. I'm like, I could do 4 days and never get this point across like he did. But me and Tess were watching that last night, and she's like, being Irish is awesome. I'm like, yes, you're correct.
Sick.
It is great. Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Except if you like to eat.
Yeah, except when you have to eat something. It's fucking
Mashed
brutal.
potato slap, dude.
I'm not,
And a baked potato and scallop. Any type of potato, I'm in.
I don't like pretty much, I really don't like potatoes that much. Like,
Really?
yeah, like, I mean,
I
I
can
don't
have a
really like
potato every
fries. I don't like really any potato product. I mean, I'll eat it.
I love potatoes.
I'm a
I do
turtle,
too.
so I'll eat whatever
I
you
like-
give me.
I
I
like
eat
potatoes.
frozen French fries, Brendan.
God.
Dead serious.
You-
right, out
What,
the
like-
fridge. Right out the freezer.
Really?
Yeah, sicko shit.
You've also, I've seen you dump a cold can of Chef by Boyardee SpaghettiOs down your mouth.
Yeah.
I'd eat
In the
that.
middle of the
Oh,
night.
beefaroni.
I'd eat that.
Beefaroni, yeah.
Not cooked.
No problem.
And the mushrooms. The
Yeah, I eat like a
canned
trash can.
mushrooms.
I'm fine with it.
You're like a raccoon.
He's like, I'm hungry.
Trash panda. Yep. 1000%. I don't care. I'll also eat very good. I'm fine with a steak house and whatnot. But like I've said it 100 times, if I'm a billionaire, or when I become a billionaire,
Yes.
I'm gonna have a personal cook, and then once a month I'm just gonna be like, but take the night off, just open up that can, leave it in the microwave, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine
It's
with
going to be notorious foodie.
it. 100%. Oh,
Dude,
that's gonna be
his
sick.
videos are fire. How about that fucking sea urchin spaghetti?
Dude, I'm in.
I would crush it.
Yeah. That guy, he is.
Cracking those open though,
That was like a lot of work.
it looked gross.
Yeah.
But he goes through it in his dude, how it must have taken 8 hours to make that dish,
It has to.
right?
Just the prep alone on opening up those fucking urchins.
Yeah, clean them all
Yeah.
out.
I'm
There's not a lot of meat there.
no, but I think it's just a cool little dish to get you to spend fucking $60 on spaghetti,
Sick.
you know?
Yeah.
Dude, you know what I've always noticed about that guy's videos? Whenever he cracks an egg, why does that yolk look fucking like cartoonish?
Because I think
Because
he
he's
gets
organic.
all
like-
the
Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
dark orange.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he like farm fresh shit.
Everything that he gets is the highest quality.
Yeah, the urchins are the best.
Loves.
Best urchins.
I'm
around.
getting the fucking ghetto urchins. Over there, you know what I mean?
He
I
loves
mean,
caviar.
canned urchins.
Why does he do that, by the way?
Tinned urchins.
Tin urchins. Caviar, I guess it's a salty thing that complements a lot of stuff.
No, I get that, but why does he?
Oh,
put
on his hand?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that just like a fucking
Rich people shit,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had caviar before, but
Yeah.
it just
Me too on a Ritz.
doesn't move the needle for me.
Dude, we were at me and once again, who knows if I told this, but it definitely wasn't when 50 was on. Me and my buddy O'Malley, Myland, he was in town to go. We were down in New York for work. We had to pick up like 2 checks that these guys owed us. They were big checks, and it poured out that day, like downpours in New York. And we were in Jersey, right across on the river, on the Hudson. And I was like, all right, we got the checks. We put them in I went to the bank, we put them in, and both our clients like canceled on us, and we're like, let's just get fucking cocked, right? So we went to the bar, we're drinking Jameson gin, just like fucking putting them down. And like, you know, when you haven't seen your buddy in forever, and you're just like, I could just drink with this kid for forever. So we're just smoking these fucking Jameson gingers, and like, I'm like, hey, where can we eat around here? Like, get an Uber or whatever. And they're like, there's a Ruth's Chris from this garage to the door. So I'm like, all right, let's go over there, right? So we're sitting at the Ruth's Chris, and I didn't know what beef carpaccio was, and it's like raw beef,
yeah.
right? So I get it, and I'm like, wow, I'm eating the fucking shit out of this. First thing for everything. I thought it was like a steak or something. That's how cocked I was. and then I remember O'Malley fell asleep on the bar, like, and they were like, you guys gotta leave, like, but you gotta pay your bill first.
I gotta finish my raw steak first.
Yeah, exactly. And then like we got back to the room, right? And like woke up in the morning.
You didn't eat leftovers, did you?
I told the story.
I was guessing. Is that where it's going?
No, it gets worse. So like we get up in the
Jesus.
morning and like there's, I get up first. I'm gonna go take a piss, and there was like a little like entryway with like a couch and like a little table and TV.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, did you fucking order Red Lobster to this place?
Oh, you did tell
Yeah,
the story.
I told the story, right? And
Yeah,
then
but
like
it's hilarious.
yeah, and then like fucking, he's like, I'm like, you're gross. And he's like, dude, I'm allergic to shellfish. There's mussels all over the floor. and I'm like, and he's like, you must have eaten it. And he goes, I'm like, but I remember leaving the bar and like carrying you out of there, like, which was downstairs. And he's like, dude, you took somebody's leftovers from in front of their room and you ate it like a fucking like a trash panda. Like,
Yeah,
that's what I was. Like,
that's gold.
piece of shit.
I thought you were gonna say you brought the raw meat home and ate leftovers like 8 hours later. That would have
I
been
would have
sick.
done that too,
Yeah,
dude.
that
I would have
would've
eaten
been sick.
anything, apparently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have eaten anything.
Yeah,
apparently.
you took the trash that someone left outside their door.
Yeah.
You took and ate the leftovers.
Yeah, that was a,
That's
by the way, that's when most people at that point, they're like, all right, I got to stop drinking. And I'm like, hey, let's fucking keep drinking. You know
makes
what I
you
mean?
stronger.
Yeah, it's going to be a good story. You know what I mean? It's going to be a good story. All right, so we'll do a little Patreon. And then we'll, after that, we will disperse into the,
Best-
after the
yeah.
fucking bender.
Do we have any voicemails?
We do have one voicemail. Yeah, it's a good thing you said that because I wouldn't have forgot. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to this guy who leaves voicemails because he's the absolute
Oh,
OG of them.
I saw Cry Maya yesterday.
Yeah?
He was so pumped about being named Corker of the Year. His dad listens. I didn't know Rod listened. Shout out to Rod Cry Maya too. Rod called him after he listened to the show. He goes, Matt, congratulations on being Corker of the Year. He was so pumped for his son.
that's awesome.
It was fucking awesome.
Can you guys hear?
Probably.
Yeah,
Can you hear?
Yeah. I can.
All right.
Yo,
It's
your man Adam Chumptown. You know what I love about this phone number right here? It's kind of like a lifeline. And you tend to call it every now and then, or maybe every week or every other week. We don't know, but we do. I tell you what, a couple things right here. I'm sitting out here in the back, smoking a skiba to the face. And I hear howling in the distance, and I put the phone down. And I remember this. If we never heard anything on the TVs, if we never heard anything on the social media, and we never heard anything, is there anything really happening? Is there anything really going on? Let's ask ourselves that, guys. And let me tell you something, 2025 is around the corner. We don't know, but I've told you, stay alert, stay alive, keep the quality high. It's your man Adam Joe Jumptown. Yeah. Shout out, Mary.
Shout out
best.
Mary.
I think Mary Jane.
Oh,
Oh yeah, probably. Good
not
job,
much of a
Danny.
weed guy.
Good
More
job,
of a,
Danny.
I mean, what
So
the
you
fuck?
think like because that's
That was
like,
like a fortune cookie.
yeah, it's like philosophers back in the day. He's like, oh, if a fucking tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? You know?
Yeah.
Were those guys just all high? Like Aristotle and
King first, chicken or the egg, dude.
were they all just cooked?
dude, I don't even know like what makes sense right now because like I literally like I've had one beer since we started the show, but I feel like I had 17 because
Oh, yeah.
it's the culmination.
Residual.
It's the shampoo effect. Yeah, they probably were high, like off like bad.
And then they start just questioning shit. Like looking up at the stars.
Yeah.
Because there was no TikTok.
Well, there's nothing else to do. I think you were like, yeah, you didn't have a tin fish guy to watch the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jerk off to. All right, listen, we love you guys all.
Happy New Year.
Big year coming up.
Happy New Year.
Bobby, thank you for coming on. We'll do a little Patreon.
It's the best.
Go
it's the
Georgia,
best in
Georgia
business.
I
Bulldogs
fucking,
tonight.
he couldn't fucking help himself. He couldn't fucking help himself.
Listen, last thing I'll say about it is that
You should have left a voicemail.
when we did
Shitting on
the,
Danny while you were here.
and I know I already said this, but I'm gonna say it again. When we did the Patreon party, and afterwards the next day, I talked to Josh. He's like, dude, I was talking to, by the way, Josh can never remember anybody's name, infamously. Like, he's like, I was talking to Bobby Froio like 3 times. He goes, dude, that kid's the best. I'm like, that's high praise coming from Josh.
I got a stat for you for Georgia that game.
What do you got?
What's the biggest line that Notre Dame's faced all year? Offensive line.
Oh, it's got to be Georgia, right?
Well, that will be, but what's the biggest line that they faced all year?
If it's fucking Northern Illinois,
Northern
I'll
Illinois.
fuck yourself.
All right, go Irish. All right,
Let's
peace.
go.